What's up everybody, this is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue, and what I'll be doing today is going to be a chicken parmesan meatball casserole. This was a recipe I saw on a website called bunsinmyoven.com. I'm going to leave a link to her channel in the description below. Anyway, saw this recipe, looks simple, something I'd want to throw together real quick for the family. Anyway, let's get on to these ingredients, and I'm going to go ahead and add these ingredients as we go through this recipe, and I will have the amounts of the ingredients in the description below. Anyway, the first thing we're going to start off with is we have 1 pound of ground chicken. To our ground chicken, we're going to go ahead and add some breadcrumbs. Now, the recipe that she made, she used panko breadcrumbs. I have Italian seasoned regular breadcrumbs, so I figured that would be great in this recipe. We have an egg. We're going to go ahead and crack our egg in. We have some grated Parmesan cheese. And we have some milk. Now, some of these other ingredients we're going to set to the side. They're going to come along a little bit later. But we have 1 jar of whatever your favorite marinara, spaghetti sauce, whatever. We have one of those. We have some mozzarella cheese that's been shredded. Some Italian seasoning, and we have some pasta noodles. Now I'm using rigatoni noodles. You could use whatever kind of pasta noodles you like. In her recipe, she called for 1 pound of noodles. The bags of pasta that I have were 12 ounces, so I'm using a little bit less pasta than her, so I may add a little bit less of this spaghetti sauce down the road. Anyway, we got that set aside. Now what we need to do is start mixing this up. Okay, that looks good to me. Now that we have everything mixed up, we're going to go ahead and make our meatballs. You can make these meatballs as big or as small as you'd like. I'm going to go about that big on them, roughly. And once we get done making all these meatballs, we're going to throw these in the oven at 450 degrees for about 12 minutes. Alright, our meatballs just came out of the oven. Now if you made the same mistake I made by not using parchment paper or spraying down the foil with some kind of a cooking oil and they stick to the pans, use the trick that I use when this happens to me. Once they're done, take them out of the oven, throw a little bit of water in the pan, and that's going to go ahead and release your meatballs or whatever you're cooking. Anyway, our next step is going to be to add our pasta. Now this pasta I cooked per the instructions, but took a minute off of it. So this particular pasta was supposed to cook for 10 minutes. I went ahead and we cooked that for 9 minutes. We're going to throw that in. And we have our marinara sauce. Well, this isn't a marinara sauce. This is a 3 cheese sauce. This was something I just had on hand. Anything's going to work. We're going to go ahead and add this in. I am going to just reserve a little bit just in case, because I am going with a little bit less pasta than the recipe calls for. And we're going to add our meatballs in. And we're going to stir it gently. We don't want to break up any of these meatballs, but we do want to get them coated with that sauce along with the pasta. And that's a nice little coating right there. We're going to go ahead and grab our casserole dish and we're just going to layer it in. And once I have this first layer in, I want to make sure that my meatballs are spread out in here, which they are. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit it with some of this mozzarella cheese. And then we're going to go ahead and stack on another layer. Let's get no hippie with it. Okay, now that we have this layer spread out evenly, we're going to go ahead and top it with the rest of our mozzarella cheese. Now one thing I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, once I took the meatballs out of the oven, I did reduce the heat on that to 350 degrees. And once we get this cheese on here, we're going to go ahead and throw it in the oven, 350 degrees for 25 minutes. Here I am thinking this stuff looks so good, I'm about to skip a step. Before we get it in the oven, we're going to hit it with our Italian seasoning. Now, what I was thinking about doing is I have a fresh basil plant over there, was using some fresh basil in this, but I'm going to go ahead and follow her recipe pretty closely. So there's our Italian seasoning. This is going off to the stove. I'll see you in about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes after it comes out and cools down. Here's what we're looking like coming out of the oven. I've let it rest for about 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and taste it. So this is a wrap. You know what? Let's get in and see what's up. Got to make sure I get some of this meatball up in here. All right. You know, what I was thinking initially, because I took it out of the oven, I ate a little piece of it, you know, a little noodle, and I was thinking, man, that needs some salt, but you know what? That meatball brings it all in. You don't need it. That meatball has that Parmesan cheese in it, which gives it that salt flavor, so this recipe is a winner. Anyway, stop by that website, bunsinmyoven.com. She has a bunch of good recipes on there. I just happened to stumble across this one on Facebook. Actually, I was looking at it, and another person, Beth, that I'm friends with on Facebook, she also said this was a recipe she was interested in, and it's the bomb. Anyway, thanks for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.